Hello class and welcome to week 6 lecture. This week we want to talk about business ethics and social responsibility. As a customer, we all want to know that businesses that we buy from are following the law and everything that they do is consistent with good ethics and that they're using labor that's perhaps not child labor, or they're using things that are legal in every way, um, shape or fashion. So we want to discuss a little bit about business ethics and responsibilities. Some customers and firms usually want things or products that are not good for the environment. And the firm has to decide whether they are going to be driven by the profit motive and provide that product, or they're going to follow their conscience and not provide that. For example, some believe that high heel shoes are not good for women, creates problems for them later on. Uh, Sugary cereals for children are not good, but there's a demand for that. So the question is, should firms produce these things? It's not against the law, but it's a moral and ethical issue. So this is where the firm's code of ethics comes in. Uh, it guides them in making a choice of whether they should provide these goods and or services. So what may be good for the firm oftentimes may not be good for a customer or good for the environment. So sometimes we go to the store and we buy all these um, bottles of water, and then what we do, we just throw it in the bin and it goes into the landfill. It takes a long time for it to be consumed, um, because it's not always biodegradable. And what companies have done now, they have taken responsibility of creating or producing bottles that are 50% less plastic. So sometimes you might be drinking bottled water and the bottle feeds a little soft, a little light, because some firms have taken up that social responsibility of using less resources. So that's one good thing that we can say that firms are doing now. When it comes to customer satisfaction, firms have come to realize that customer satisfaction now includes long-range effects. For example, I might be thirsty now, I may go out buy a bottle of water, but I want to know that when I dispose of this bottle of water, there's some type of facility where I can get it recycled. So companies are being responsible, customers are being responsible. So it's now no longer just that instant satisfaction for customers, but that long range satisfaction we are looking at as customers. Responsibility sometimes takes different forms and shapes for some organizations. Like, for example, Toyota has come out with the hybrid cars. This is absolutely good for the environment. It reduces pollution in the environment, and it's a great example of customer satisfaction for the long range. So Toyota produces good vehicles. We can be satisfied now using the vehicles, and in the long run, we know that the environment will be secure. The environment will have clean air for children and our children's children. So that constitutes a long-range satisfaction that will be provided by Toyota. Um, so many firms have been accused of using child labor. Right? So business ethics is one issue that has come up to the forefront lately, and Nike has been using child labor for some time in the uh, in some countries like Asia, continents like Asia, some countries like China, and all these places. But the World Trade Organization and UNICEF have enacted laws, these international laws that have been blatantly violated from these businesses' standpoint. And what Nike has done now is that they have reconstructed their labor force. They now contract people that are going to be more responsible, people that are going to be hiring adults to do the work. So Nike has turned a page on that. So we consider Nike now is following a business ethic code or framework. So we know that corporate responsibility has a long range effect, and Nike has understood that, and Nike has displayed that. CSR is now being adopted by many firms. It's short for corporate social responsibility, and CRS policy functions as a built-in self-regulating mechanism whereby a firm monitors and ensures its compliance with the spirit of the law, ethical standards, and international norms. Some firms have even gone above and beyond that to make sure that they're being compliant with the law, which is good for the customer, which is good for the government, and which is good for society in the long run. Because firms are not going to be patronized by customers who perceive that they're not operating above and beyond the law. So that's one good thing that we can see, that firms are turning around now, a new leaf. Also the law, federal law and the laws of various other countries have become very strict in terms of firms being responsible and showing responsibility for the environment. Some firms emit all different type of gases in the environment during their production process, and without any regard for the environment. But now firms are being held accountable by these various federal laws and international laws. And some of the penalties have been very harsh and very swift for these firms. So hence the reason why firms are now taking stock of their practices. And there's a list of social and ethical violations that have been committed by many firms, and some include bribing authorities for contracts. These occur especially in developing countries where accountability is very, very minimal. Misuse of public funds, these happen even in the United States right here. Producing goods that are not healthy for kids, like sugary drinks and sugary cereals. They affect kids in the long run. Also, as mentioned before, child labor. Nike has turned over a new leaf on that. However, some firms are still using child labor in various parts of Asia, and international laws still apply to those places. Marketing to underage kids through cartoons. In some places in India, marketers target kids with cigarette commercials, and it's legal but not ethical in those parts. Also exploiting workers in sweatshops, paying workers a minimal, sometimes $2 a day, $1 a day, and expecting workers to perform at their best, and even violating workers' rights, even beating workers in some parts of Asia. Contamination of air and water. This is rampant when it comes to firms in the production process. And this goes sometimes unnoticed by some governments. Some governments receive a payoff by some firms and they turn the other way. Nonetheless, it still affects the international environment, and often marketing harmful pesticides to farmers is also a problem in various parts of the world. Just to get things sold, marketers, they disregard farmers' rights, and they don't think about the customer in the long run. So these are some of the things that um, social and ethical responsibility, if taken up by these marketers, it will create a better business environment. So this is the end of our lecture for week 6. Thank you.